I've been trying to use all my fingers to try and work out how many times Robert De Niro has worked with Martin Scorsese. I've had to start using my feet. That's how many times he's worked with him. Good evening, it's Adam here again with another quick instant movie review for you. So tonight I caught the latest Martin Scorsese film called Killers of the Flower Moon. This film stars Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Lily Gladstone, and it tells the story of 1920s Oklahoma and the Osage Nation people, the Native American Indians, who are on this land that no one really wants to be on, but then they all want to have a part of it when the Osage Nation people strike oil on their land and they find out they have a very big reserve under their land, and as a result, they are getting into it. They're getting rich. They are dressing up with some fine threads, driving really cool cars, and even getting a few servants of their own. So all is going well until a rancher by the name of William King Hale is seeing what's going on. He's been a long-term resident of this land. He's lived with the Osage people, and being a rancher, he's sort of realizing that his life and his career in cattle is going to come to an end, and he really needs to look towards the future. So he hatches a plan with his very naive nephew, whose name is Ernest Burkhart, to try and get a hold of the head rights of the land of the Osage People Nation. To do that, he basically tries to get all his family members to woo all these ladies, slowly do away with these ladies until the rights land with Molly Kyle, played by Lily Gladstone, who is the person that Leo woos and has a relationship with and marries, all with a sinister plan to try and get these head rights. So it's basically a story about land rights, about racism, about murder, and about the birth of the FBI, because the Osage people are sick of the town folk and the authorities within Oklahoma not investigating the very strange deaths of all of their people. So they travel off to Washington to try and get a hold and speak to the president and say we need some help, and therefore they send the FBI's down. Tom White, played by Jesse Plemons, heads up this operation. So this film is a sweeping epic. It is big. This film goes for 206 minutes to be exact. It is a huge film. It is produced by Apple TV Plus, so it will find itself on a streaming service very shortly. And it is the 11th film that Martin Scorsese has worked with Robert De Niro, and I think the 7th or 8th film that he's worked with Leonardo DiCaprio. First time he's worked with Lily Gladstone, but definitely not the last time we're going to see this lady on screen. She is amazing. This is based on a novel, a 2017 novel. The rights for this were obtained pretty much as soon as the book was written. I think Martin Scorsese grabbed the rights. There was lots of delays during COVID, and I think it is a film that was made for $200 million. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is he's a producer on this, so he's going to get a decent coin out of it. And yeah, it's huge. The great things about this film: it looks amazing. The DOP on this, Rodrigo Barreto, has shot a beautiful looking movie. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. Some beautiful tones, some muted tones, some beautiful vistas, really clever use of CGI, and yeah, just capturing some beautiful light sources. It just looks great, this film. The direction by Martin Scorsese. He's working with some pretty amazing talent. I mean, wow. Leo does some very interesting facial movements in this, and he is a guy that you just want to slap and tell him, wake up, son. So he is 100% giving us the character that we believe in. Robert De Niro is scene stealing. He chews the scenery in this film as the villain of the piece, and you just want to do so many things to this bloke, I tell you. Horrendous. What a manipulator. And of course, Lily Gladstone is getting a massive amount of shout outs for her performance as Molly. She is extraordinary. For the amount of lines that she has, it's just the looks that she uses, and it's her poise, and it's acting against these huge actors, these great big, juggernauts of Hollywood superstardom. And she is, in a lot of cases, wiping them off the screen just with her real performance, with her understated real performance. There feels like there's nothing fake in here. She feels exactly like the character that she's inhibiting. And you really, really want for Molly to come out on top, even though it's not looking good for her throughout most of the film. So that's some pluses. Some minuses of this is running time. This is a very long film. There was a couple of times that I did look down at my watch and I did go, where are we? What's happening? Could we just hurry this along a little bit? And I think if this was, and the way it's going to be seen is on a streaming service, so you could potentially, break this down to chapters or watch it in a couple of different parts and a couple of different settings. Which is, why I guess it lends itself very well to being on streaming, and it does feel a little bit episodic in certain sections, which might be down to the book. I haven't read the book, so I can't comment on that. But I think what you lose in seeing it in the cinema is that amazing soundtrack. And Robbie Robinson, this was his last soundtrack collaboration with Scorsese after he died, I think 2 months before the film came out, which is horrendous. His soundtrack is quite phenomenal. It's quite overpowering. In some moments, you kind of feel like, oh, is this music sort of, it feels a little bit out of whack with the period that we're working to, but it drives the narrative forward. It kind of makes it feel like a modern take on values of old values. So it's kind of got a really interesting spin to it. So I didn't mind that at all. It was very pulsating at certain times. There's a really great use of drums at the very beginning of the film that it makes you think, oh my God, I'm about to have a heart attack. It's that intense. So the use of music is great, but it is a long film. It's a big ask, and I think again, what you lose in this from watching it on streaming is the amazing visuals in that huge vista that we've created, the pounding soundtrack with the Dolby surround sound, which you might have at home, but still I feel like you'd be lost. And it is a, being in a cinema is a holistic experience. It's a collaborative experience. It's sitting in a room with other people experiencing something quite special and then having a conversation about it afterwards, sometimes with complete strangers, which is what I ended up happening in my screening. So you will lose a lot of that. But you can get up, you can make a cup of tea, you can sit back down again, you can pause it, you can come back to it if you're watching it on streaming. So I guess they're the two things fighting there. Overall, this is an epic. This is everyone at the top of their game. This is Martin Scorsese making a phenomenal film. At the age of 80, he is not showing any signs of slowing down. Leonardo DiCaprio once again puts in a phenomenal performance, and Robert De Niro is absolutely loving playing this absolute scoundrel in this film. And of course, Lily Gladstone, she's great. So as much as the runtime is a problem, it really, the rest of the film is just phenomenal. So I could not recommend it. So I'd give Killers of the Flower Moon an 8.5. I'm gonna go 8.5. An 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie, and I would like to watch it again. I probably will watch it on streaming, and I think it's great. So go and see it. Okay, have an amazing night. Good night.